And today on the call as well, we're offering all our viewers a free S/4HANA upgrade assessment. So everything you see today, we're offering that assessment for free. So again, email us and drop us a line here at our sales-info box. And with that, Chris, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Hey, thanks, Emma. Hello, everybody. Well, this is probably the most important message of today's session. So if you want to get 25 minutes of your day back, no, I'm just kidding. Don't drop yet. Find out a little bit more about what's actually included in the S/4HANA upgrade assessment. But yeah, as Emma says, this is available exclusively to all of our viewers today, completely free of charge. So a question that's probably worth answering is, which SAP HANA flavor are you targeting or considering targeting? I've sized these boxes to reflect our experience and those of our partners that use IntelliCorp's products to support their own SAP HANA upgrade assessments. Rolling back probably a couple of years, it seemed that a lot of people were looking at Suite on HANA and considering that very much in the sort of classic sense of a technical upgrade. You know, replace our existing RDBMS with the HANA database and continue to use the business process software that we're familiar with. Today it seems the discussion has moved on and it's now all about S/4HANA transformations. And if we focus on S/4HANA transformations, then there are really two approaches that you can take. You know, if we consider the spectrum of methods to support the S/4HANA transformation, then at one end we have a new implementation. We may have extensive customizations in our existing SAP application. Our business may be quite different to what it was 20+ years ago when we first implemented SAP R3. We may have grown through acquisitions, we may have divested various divisions and so on. So we may be considering a new implementation. At the other end of the spectrum there is we want to treat this as an upgrade. We value the customizations that we've developed, and once upgraded we will then and indeed maybe through the upgrade process itself, we will seek opportunities to optimize our implementation, maybe look to reduce our reliance on the less valuable customizations that we carry in our systems. Two customer stories that I can share that have gone down those two ends of the spectrum. One organization runs about 10 production SAP instances, and in doing some analysis of those systems, what they concluded was that they are all quite different. Historically, there had been no appetite to even consider a technical consolidation. Certainly, we've seen some of those projects in the past, but within this organization, no appetite to consolidate those production instances. And so with the advent of S/4HANA, this organization was saying, you know, this provides us with a platform and opportunity basically to get rid of that 20+ years of legacy, which doesn't reflect the business that we run today, and we will use that to standardize both technically and from a business process perspective and work to simplify, meaning have fewer customizations in our system and rely much more on standard SAP functionality. So that might be sort of the context that you find yourselves in your organization, and that's certainly something that's supported using the smart IntelliCorp software. If we look at the other end of the spectrum, the upgrade and optimize, again, we've got an organization that's running multiple SAP production instances, and in this case, this organization has grown through acquisition. So you're really looking at 4 different SAP implementations, which are now part of a single legal entity. Within each of those divisions, they were run by powerful business owners that valued their SAP implementation and the unique customizations that had been developed. And so like we saw in the previous story, there really was no appetite to consolidate those environments because it meant, you know, we're now all going to be running in a single standard system, and they saw value in their unique customizations. However, with the advent of SAP HANA, there was a move to say, look, we can still clean house. There are things that we can do to optimize our environment today. We can upgrade each of our instances to S/4HANA. We might use that as an opportunity to reduce our non-SAP database maintenance license costs. And once we're in SAP HANA and we see the pace of innovation in terms of new business process functionality and the support for that from SAP, then we can work to further optimize our implementation. So those are just two ends of the spectrum, and there can be approaches that lie somewhere between those as well. So in terms of IntelliCorp support for SAP HANA transformations, we offer 3 products. LiveModel, which is all about business process visualization. If you want to understand what the impact will be on your business processes, whether you're considering Suite on HANA or S/4HANA, then LiveModel provides an excellent way to do that, and I'll actually show you that later in the demonstration. To really understand the migration from a technical perspective, then LiveCompare is the product to use, and this actually forms the backbone of our free SAP HANA upgrade assessment. And then outside of the SAP HANA transformation exercise, there's still the what are we going to do with our systems between now and that project starting, and then what will our life cycle look like post S/4HANA transformation. And we see most organizations looking to adopt a DevOps approach of plan, design, build, test, deploy, and support, and we believe LiveCompare provides a great, smart platform to support those operations today for your S/4HANA transformation and tomorrow. And then lastly, as you consider your integration options, Live Interface from IntelliCorp provides fast and easy, super low cost enterprise application integration. So what's included in the SAP HANA upgrade assessment? LiveCompare considers your SAP HANA upgrade assessment from 5 perspectives. We spent a lot of time looking at the impact on development, largely looking at the impact on your customizations. In order to help understand, do we want to go brownfield, do we want to go greenfield, do we want to go somewhere in between? A lot of the decision making will take place based on what customizations we have in the system, the value to the business of those customizations, and how much is it going to cost us to upgrade them to run on the S/4HANA platform. So LiveCompare includes built-in support for identifying all of the used, unused custom code, running various code quality analytics, including determining what custom code is incompatible with SAP HANA, so we know that there's remediation work that will need to be done. And in fact, if you go beyond the SAP HANA upgrade assessment, then you can actually take advantage of Fix My Code technology in LiveCompare that can rewrite that incompatible code for you automatically. Testing, a key part of any upgrade project. We want to understand what SAP have changed that we use. We want to understand what development we'll have to fix to define the scope of our testing activities. Integration with third-party applications. It's important that those are well tested, but it's also important that we understand them during the planning and design phases because there may be work that needs to be done. If SAP have changed, for example, IDOC structures or segments rather, then we'll need to understand that, incorporate that into any custom components that we've developed that may support integrations with third-party applications. Security is always something that's affected by upgrades, and the LiveCompare powered SAP HANA upgrade assessment will give you a complete picture on what needs to be changed in all of your roles and profiles. Classically, I remember upgrade projects would sort of go into testing and just give everyone SAP All and SAP New, and then we'd find all of the security issues post-go live. Well, with LiveCompare, we can avoid those car accidents post-go live by actually setting the roles correctly during the project. And then with SAP HANA, the impact on our end users. Are we using things that are obsolete? Have SAP replaced T-codes? Are there new recommended replacements? LiveCompare can determine all of this for us automatically. And then lastly, LiveCompare's SAP HANA upgrade assessment will equip you with a rudimentary project management tool. Based on the PERT model of project estimation, you give it how many resources you have across development, testing, integration, security, and training, and you assess the likely work rates of those resources, and then LiveCompare will compute both the total effort required as well as the elapsed time. How does it work? Actually, it's a very straightforward process to follow. You'll use portions of LiveCompare to take an as-is snapshot. Basically, we'll take a picture of your as-is SAP environment. You upload that to our LiveCompare cloud environment, and then we will compare it with a 2B, either Suite on HANA or S/4HANA system that's running in our lab. And once that's complete, we will set up time to review the results with you. How long does that take? You can budget on about 1 to 2 days, I guess, for completing all of the hard work, take the snapshot, upload it to the cloud, and run the comparison. And those review sessions will take somewhere between 40 and 60 minutes. I should stress this is elapsed time. This isn't the amount of effort that's going to be required on your team's part. It'll largely be one individual, maybe someone from basis or development, that will prepare the as-is snapshot, and it's largely software time that's going through building that picture of your as-is environment and then upload it to the cloud. At that point, that's the end of the investment in your resource time, and we take over to produce the comparison and then review with you the results. The key part of this is the comparison, and the analogy I like to draw, the way to explain it is, I suspect everyone has played the spot the difference game as a kid. This was the picture that I liberally took from Wikipedia, so I'll give everyone just a few minutes to go back to those early innocent childhood days and see if you can spot a few of the differences. All right, well, that's probably long enough. So I found those today. This is essentially what LiveCompare is doing. It's taking your as-is environment, the 2B, Suite on HANA or S/4HANA, and finding everything that SAP have changed. Now, in fact, that's actually not quite enough, because we now need to take those changes and put them in context, meaning we need to determine the impact of those changes on the way we've customized, configured, and use our SAP environment. What I mean by that is it's not just important to know that the hands on the clock have gone all wonky and changed. It's important to know what the impact of that will be. Maybe we're going to be late. Maybe we'll take the cake out of the oven too early, and so it won't actually look as wonderful as it does in this picture. So LiveCompare's analysis is going to perform all of that for you automatically. All right, that's probably enough chat and enough fun and games. Let's take a look at some results. Okay, so I've logged into our LiveCompare cloud server, and I just want to run you through the basic process that we go through to perform these analyses. So the first thing I'm going to do is just going to set up a quick analysis, and I'm going to load in those as-is and 2B pictures that have been taken, and then I can easily share the results with my team. And then that's basically the sum total of my user input for this process, other than I've got to click the little green play button. LiveCompare will go off and perform all of its work, again, considering the upgrade from the 5 key perspectives of development, testing, integration, security, and training, and deliver to me the set of results, which starts with this upgrade project dashboard. So we present these results, again, starting with development, so we get an assessment of the ratio of standard to custom code. I always think of this as sort of the Pac-Man chart. I know the coloring's a little off, but what I hope to see is that we're using much more standard code than we are custom. I can tell you from benchmark studies that we've performed in the past over about 600 different SAP customers. The average level of customization is 28%. The minimum we ever saw was 5%, and the maximum was actually over 90%. In this middle chart, I mentioned that it's important to understand where all of our unused custom code is. We don't want to waste a single precious cycle of development testing, anyone from the business, in upgrading anything that's not used. Remember the story of the brownfield upgrade, meaning let's optimize before we embark on the project, and let's optimize post-upgrade. So we don't want to be spending time working on any of this unused custom code. And then once we've identified what's actually used, LiveCompare will determine what's impacted. So it plays the spot the difference game and figures out that if SAP have changed something that your customizations depend on, and meaning that they've changed it in a significant way, it's not enough to just change a comment in a function module, has no material impact on our customizations, then LiveCompare will put it in the impacted bucket. So we can see that it's a little over 50%, about 55% of our used customizations are affected by the upgrade. So at each stage, we're reducing the scope of the work, meaning that you can get through that upgrade, or you can reach the decision, yes, we want to go brownfield, greenfield, somewhere in between, because we now have the information to help us make that decision. During upgrades, if we think about the optimization approach down at the brownfield end of the spectrum, then we may want to start paying attention to the quality of our customizations. LiveCompare includes built-in analytics that look at quality from a number of different perspectives, but my particular favorite is the good, the bad, and the ugly analysis, which assesses the complexity of your custom code. Because the more complex the custom code, the more expensive it will be. The harder it's going to be to change it, the harder it will be to test it, and the more production defects you'll experience. So the good news here is that the vast majority of our code is in great condition, but there's certainly room for improvement. I said that LiveCompare looks at the quality from a number of different perspectives. Probably most important, and we'll see some more detail of that in a moment, is the HANA category. We want to know what custom code won't run when we upgrade to SAP HANA. And as I said, if you go beyond the SAP HANA upgrade assessment, which is free of charge, you can then take advantage of Fix My Code technology that's baked into LiveCompare, and it will rewrite your broken custom code for you. Distribution across application area. At this point, I mean, I see this as very much a module view, but I think there's a much better presentation that can be achieved in LiveModel. So I'll get to that demonstration in a moment. And then we look at some of the other areas, integration, security, and our end-user training. So where are we using transactions for which SAP have a recommended replacement? Indeed, where might we be using transactions where there simply is no alternative? You know, we're going to need to go find that. That's the dashboard. You can certainly click through it if you want to get to the next level of detail. So this gives you all of the development analysis, and then a link at the bottom takes you to the development spreadsheet, which contains all of the details. Before I get to that, I just want to return to this application area impact for you and show you a different way to present that using LiveModel. Okay, so I've switched to LiveModel, which I've loaded an SAP reference model, which is good for our as-is SAP implementation. And you can see that it has all of these different process areas, so core business processes across the top, process areas down the bottom. This happens to have a 5-level decomposition, with the bottom being the actual standard, SAP transactions that can be used to automate those activities. So at this point, it's just a model. I mean, in fact, you could argue it's just a diagram that shows me really no information. What I can do is I can overlay the results of our LiveCompare SAP HANA upgrade assessment and really bring this business process model to life. So it may look a little bit busy. At this point, I usually in demos focus people's attention on just this little diagram mini-map. What I've done is I've loaded data from the LiveCompare SAP HANA upgrade assessment to tell me what are we using, what's impacted by the change, and just to throw out another capability of LiveCompare, what's testable. Now, how did LiveCompare answer what's testable? Well, we integrated with a Micro Focus ALM environment, or a Microsoft VSTS, or Worksoft Certify, or even if you have an Excel spreadsheet that contains the database, all of your tests, we can read that too. So the blue shapes tell me we're using something. The red tells me that these processes are impacted by the SAP HANA upgrade, and the green tells me what's testable. So at this point, I can see that substantial portions of our business process are affected. The thing that would concern me most, again, from the testing perspective, is any red that's peeking through. Because we use it, it's affected by the upgrade, and we have no documented tests. So for me, using LiveModel is the best way to present that information, the technical analysis from LiveCompare, back to our business partners. Okay, so returning to LiveCompare and what do you get as part of the SAP HANA upgrade assessment, let's look at a couple more of the details, and then we'll cut to questions. So I mentioned the summary, which uses the PERT estimating model, and so what LiveCompare has computed is, here are all of the things that need to be done. So think of this as the to-dos. This is the total effort estimate that comes from how many resources do we have and the PERT calculation. And based on then the number of resources was the elapsed number of days. And you can use this to explore what-if analysis. So for example, if we suddenly get more developers and fewer QA resources, then then we can pop back to the dashboard and we can see the impact on those calculations. Actually, that didn't seem to calculate. Why not? Sorry, Excel is telling me that it needs to be calculate, but I'm hitting F9, it doesn't seem to be calculating. Okay, well, I guess we now know at least that it's a live demonstration. Trust me, that does work in the SAP HANA upgrade assessments that we've been running for customers. If we turn our attention to one of the key areas I spent a lot of time talking about, the analysis of custom code, because I think that's going to be instrumental in helping you determine whether we go brownfield, greenfield, or somewhere in between, then let's take a quick look at some of the details in the development analysis. This can look quite dense. There's a lot of information that's included in all of this. What I want to call out is, here's our custom components, and what LiveCompare's done is it's found out that these are the standard SAP components that they depend on, and that they're different. Now, it may be a detail, but I will stress that LiveCompare is concerned with significant differences. If we have got a BDC, we're using call transaction to play data back through a standard SAP transaction. LiveCompare, it won't matter if SAP have just changed the font on a label on one of the fields, but if they've added a mandatory field, a new mandatory field, then that will affect us. So that's a significant change. If all SAP have done is change a comment in a function module that we call, it will have no material impact on our custom programs. So I stress that because the net result of having that level of smart analysis means you have far fewer false positives, right? It reduces, really tightens up the scope of work that's required. LiveCompare will do code comparisons as well and actually provide you with side-by-side results. So those hyperlinks will take you to displays like this. Now, just to explain, the left-hand side is the 2B. So this is the new code from an S/4HANA system, and the right-hand side is the as-is. So developers can get a real clear assessment on, what have SAP changed, and now we're down into the code. What material impact will this have? What remediation work do I need to do to our custom components to fix it up? In fact, one of the ways that I prefer to look at this is not top-down, which focuses on my custom components first, then the standard SAP, is to look at it bottom-up. Because if we look at each of these things, we can see that there are several custom programs that all depend on the same standard SAP objects. And that's typical of the way customizations are built. The same SAP objects get reused multiple times. So if we can knock this guy off, we basically take all of these objects out of scope. Again, we can progress the upgrade more quickly. Okay, so that's just a sense of some of the results. Before we get into questions, I thought I would ask one of my own. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, I'm jumping, getting a little ahead of myself. Let me summarize the things that we've seen and talked about so far. So as Emma introduced, we are offering a free SAP HANA upgrade assessment powered by LiveCompare, and it will deliver the results that you need to understand the impact of development, testing, integration, support, and training, and it will give you that rudimentary project management tool to start exploring the amount of work and how many resources would be ideal to fit your timescales. LiveCompare generally, however, I want to just stress, is a smart DevOps platform that's good for today's SAP environment, support your SAP HANA journey, as well as what it means for future endeavors such as maybe some Fury, UI5, custom development, and so on. Okay, now I think we get to the question that I wanted to ask before we open it up. So does anyone know how many seeds were there on the strawberries? See, this is a test of how much attention everyone was paying. All right, maybe that's a little unfair. So by my count, there were 14 seeds, although I think that one was pretty subjective, so we would accept 13 as the answer. Okay, LiveCompare would have found that for us automatically if we'd run that upgrade assessment. All right, so I think that with that, Emma, it's back to you, and if there are any questions, we can take them now.
Okay, I'm still thinking about the strawberries and the seeds.
Yeah, 13.
Okay, so I had a couple of questions come through. Some of them you answered along the way. So how long will an assessment take to run? I think that was in one of the slides earlier.
Yeah, so, but it's worth, I guess, giving the answer again so everyone's clear. Elapsed time 1 to 2 days to complete the assessment, and then we will follow that up with a 40 to 60-minute review. But even within that 1 to 2 days, you're probably looking at one resource spending, somewhere between 60 and 90 minutes to do all of the work that's required to produce that as-is snapshot and upload it to the cloud.
Okay, next one was, do we need to have HANA up and running to complete the analysis?
No, and I think that that's one of the things that's different about S/4HANA upgrade assessments using this LiveCompare approach than has been in the past, where we needed live, as-is, and to-be systems in our networks. With this, you don't need a to-be system. You're basically relying on IntelliCorp to provide that from its lab. So you take you obviously have an as-is. We take a picture of that. We upload the pictures of the cloud, and then we will compare it with our Suite on HANA or S/4HANA system running in the lab. So you don't need a to-be system to get these results.
Okay. Any more questions coming through? Okay, one more. How far in advance do you recommend running this?
Well, of course. Okay. So I'm going to say you should sign up now. I mean, if we haven't had any emails through at info saying I want an S/4HANA upgrade assessment, then why not? It's free. And I think the sooner you have insights into, are we better off going brownfield, greenfield, or somewhere in between, the better off you're going to be. You may even use those results to start dictating how you approach your SAP lifecycle between now and then. So I think, yes, the sooner the better makes sense.
Okay, great. No more questions will come through, so any more, ping them over. I don't know if you want to advance the slide, Chris, because I think our email addresses are on there.
Oh, that's right. And when we send this out, this will include a hyperlink, which will let you subscribe to our newsletter, which will give you a lot more information on our recent Smart DevOps series, and share success stories from across our customers, and also give you insight into which events you can see us at next. Lastly, there's more additional resources here, dedicated links, and I think that concludes our session for today with, wow, 1 minute and 30 seconds to go.